Hello fellow human, welcome back to another Dank Doggo / ProRevenge videos. Do you guys still play Minecraft in 2020? Honestly, I think this game is not overrated at all, and pretty darn amazing for maintaining the player base after all of those years. The first story is posted by you/Dr. Rave Ninja. Harass my daughter on Minecraft? You can't hide from me! So my daughter, who was about 8 at the time, was really into Minecraft, as most kids are these days. Also desperately wanting to join YouTube or, let's play culture. I had installed some screen recording software that would let her make videos of the game she was playing, so she could later upload them to YouTube. Anyways, one day I'm minding my own business when I hear her quietly sniffing over on the computer. I asked her what was wrong, but she didn't want to tell me, so I let it go, but decided to keep an eye on her. A few minutes later, I discovered what was happening. Someone was harassing not only her, but also all of the kids playing on whatever server she was on. This kid, we'll call him Little Craphead or CS, was saying crap about how he was going to torture my 8-year-old daughter. She told him how old she was, hoping he would stop. How he was going to hack into her IP and steal all of her info, swearing profusely. Remember, this is a game for kids, etc, etc. By this time, I had gotten my fiancé involved, and she was also obviously quite upset at what little crap this kid was being. And we realized that our daughter had been recording the entire incident and a plan began to form. I started by googling CS username. There were several hits immediately, the most interesting of which involved a page where he was publicly applying to be a mod for a server on Minecraft. The most interesting of which involved a page where he was publicly applying to be a mod for a server on Minecraft. I was able to learn a lot about this little ducker. He claimed to be 15, likes hockey, used to live in Toronto, but now lives in Florida. But the bombshell was easily his Skype contact info. It was literally first name dot last name. I know your name now, you little crap. So I head over to Facebook and search for the name. Nothing. On a hunch, I searched for just the last name while narrowing my results to only states of Florida. Several dozen hits. So I have to start combining through each one until I find what I was looking for. A middle-aged man with the same last name whose profile indicates he was born in Toronto and now lives in Florida. I found your dad, you little crap! So I sent him a message on Facebook asking if he had a son named the first name who goes by his username on Minecraft. The dad confirmed I had the right guy. So my wife begins telling the dad everything that CS was saying to my daughter, and we went him the recorded video as proof. Radio silence for a few days. Then we got the message back. CS had his computer taken away from him for the entire summer. And this ducker had also been lying about his age. He was only like 11, I think. His parents were ducking livid with him, and he surely hated the next few months of his life. No one ducks with my daughter. Also, I'd like to point out that while I understand that Minecraft isn't just for kids, there are some serious hardcore Minecrafters out there. I can tell you that probably the biggest demographic is on the younger side. I know that people of all ages play all games, but I feel that Minecraft is one that people can reasonably expect to be rather civil. Well, for the parents who are watching this video, don't just prohibit your children from playing games entirely, but you might want to talk to your kids about cyberbullying and show them how to ban or mute, block the harasser. We have here the second story written by you/LRZE403. Guy quits his job thinking he became rich. This just happened today, and my adrenaline is pumping hard. I work for a construction company, and we do remodeling on homes. We have a rule that we get to keep anything we find hidden behind the walls. We hired this guy. We really needed a worker badly, who was a total a-hole from the day one. I've been working for this company for 5 years, and this guy has only been doing constructions for 1 year after he got fired from his accounting job for getting a DUI. Anyways, he would always make fun of my clothes and my accent, and one day, he went too far by telling my boss about my private Instagram account's pics. He got on his phone and looked through my Instagram page and showed my boss pictures of me smoking grass. Little did he know that my boss is my friend from 8 years when we used to smoke together before we both quit. I was so mad that he violated my privacy, then I made a plan to screw him over. He was kind of guy who would always come in late and complain that trains or traffic is why he was always late. One day, I overheard him saying that if he won the lottery, he would quit his job for not getting the respect he deserves. You have to earn your respect here. One day, I bought some fake gold coins online and I put them in a metal box I found at the antique store and waited for a chance to hide it in a wall. Luckily, I did not have to wait that long. The day he found the coins, he seemed like it was his best day ever. First thing he did, when he opened the box, he called my boss a ducking loser, and he quits immediately on the spot. He said, "Screw this place, I'm rich!" Lamau! Little did he know was that was the best day of my life. After he quit, my boss told us that he was going to fire him anyways for always showing up late. I wish I could see the look on his face when he finds out the gold coins are fake. Best 40 bucks I spent in my life. For your information, these houses are bought at auction. People don't live here, so everything is owned by the construction company. Props OP, that was very smart. Next up, we have the third story shared by /Young Sour Swede. My hag of a stepmom gave away my PlayStation 4 while I was away in college. So I rent out her house while she was on her honeymoon with her newest husband. I've been reading lots of Reddit lately, especially entitled parents, but made a new account when I came across this subreddit. I never thought I would actually try to contribute something. Until now, Reddit had just been my guilty morning coffee read. So here goes. I'm an only son. My mom died of ovarian cancers at only 55 years old. It broke my dad's heart. They had been together since college and were the same age, my dad being a month older. I'm 22 and I'm about to graduate college with my degree in chemistry when the main events start to occur. I went to college on a full-ride scholarship. This is important later. My dad met my stepmom when she was my mom's nurse at a hospital where she spent her final days. My stepmom, Grace, played all the right notes to gain my dad's trust. She was empathetic to him, nurturing, comforting after my mom passed. I was 17 and old enough to sense that. She was just trying to weasel her way into getting my dad's resources. But it was up to my dad if he wanted to be in a relationship with her. I was in my final year of public school and had just won a scholarship to attend a college out of the country the following year. My dad mourned my mom for a year, and that the whole time Grace would check in on him by phone every month or so, in my opinion to scope out of the possibility of sinking her hooks in him. After a year passed, Grace took the gloves off and went hard after my dad. Grace was only 40 when she and my dad started seeing each other. I didn't like her, but at the same time, my dad at least didn't seem so depressed anymore. So I tried to be less pessimistic about her and to give her the benefit of the doubt. In my gut, I didn't trust her though. But we are Scandinavian, and at least in my family, the son does not tell his father what to do or even offer any opinion. Grace is from Czech Republic if you're wondering. My father was a very successful banker during his career and amassed quite a portfolio of wealth. I'll spare you the details, but after 6 months of dating, Grace and my father are married. My dad never really got over my mom though, and he was getting weaker and weaker, even though he was only like 57. Since his health was fading, he called me to him and asked me point blank, "Boy, what do you need to set you up in this life?" I told him I don't need anything, I'm a man, I can take care of myself. "But what are you even talking about, Dad? You're going to be around for decades yet." I did remind him that he had a living sister with children, my aunts and cousins. I also reminded him that I had a full scholarship to college, so don't worry about giving me any cash. He was dead only a year later at 59. I, of course, have seen lots of Hollywood movies, so I considered the conspiracy theory that maybe my dad's nurse wife poisoned him and made him sign over all of his money to her. But I really honestly do not think that's what happened. Other relatives didn't like Grace either, but they knew my dad was totally in love with my mom and that her death utterly broke him. Well, long story short, my dad bequeathed his 5-bedroom house to me, even though I wasn't expecting it and didn't ask for it. He gave a small endowment to each of his sisters and their children. He left about 80% of all of his existing money to Grace, which amounted to several hundreds of thousands of dollars. My dad ignored me because he's generous to a fault. But I could tell she was angry as hell that she didn't get my dad's house too. That belonged to me, and I had the legal papers to prove it. She was especially mad because we live in an extremely upscale and trendy location, and houses are hard to come by and easily sold for massive profit. During the first few months after my dad's death, I had the nauseating, creepy experience of knowing that Grace was trying to feel me out to see if I might be into a little relationship with her. Gross! She still stayed at the house though, because over the last 3 years, she had gotten used to living there and acting like she owned it. And even though I officially owned it, I was always away at college and only visited my dad's old house once every couple of months. And even then, it wasn't to see Grace, but to see my cousins who lived just a few miles away. I downplayed the fact that it was really my house, and over the months, I think Grace gradually forgot that she really had no legal right to the house. She probably believed that sooner or later, because I never asked her for any of the hundreds of thousands of my dad's dollars that she now had, that I was somehow independently wealthy and would just give up my house to her. I knew I would eventually hydrogen bomb this tramp when she started dating some new guy only 5 months after my dad was in the ground. And one time when I came home from college after graduating, she and her new boyfriend, some sleazy looking D-bag named Ivan, who was only a few years older than me, were acting like I was a guest in my own house and like they owned it. I played along. Grace told me she gave away my PS4 to Ivan's cousin because I'm too old to play with video games. I don't even know this mother ducker, and you gave him my PS4 to give away to some other crap who I also don't know? I smiled, but I knew what I had to do eventually. She also said that she and Ivan were getting married because I just can't mourn your father forever. I have to move on with my life. I tell her that I graduated college and already secured employment with a local firm and will soon find a new place to live. She looks thrilled, especially the part where it looks like I'll soon have a new place to live. Then, in a patronizing way, she tells me, "You always have a place in our house though. You're welcome to stay whenever you please." Thanks, Grace. Really generous of you. What I really say is that I will probably have a new place in 3 months. She says that is wonderful, because she intends to go to her homeland to have a wedding with Ivan, and afterward, have her honeymoon. She assures me that it's a local affair. "Otherwise, I'd invite you, honey. And anyway, I know you're so busy." I congratulate her. She asked me if I can watch the house for her. Watch my own house? Sure. What I really say is that, of course, I will take care of the house. I'm careful not to say your house. She and her D-bag fiance, who I'm 100% sure is only there for Grace's money, go on their trip. And I immediately put on advertisements in rental websites offering to lease my house. I hire movers and have all the Grace furniture and possessions boxed up and put into a storage rental facility. I retain all of my parents' furniture that they had before my dad met Grace. Locks, change, all of them. Within days, I'm inundated with dozens of inquiries regarding my amazing furnished house with fantastic view. I rent it to a wonderful young family, a barrister and his schoolteacher wife, and their 2 preteen children. They pay me their first and last month's rent and sign a lease for a year. I warn them about my crazy stepmom who think this is her house, but I present them with contact information to my lawyer, the same lawyer my dad retained in case they need assurance that I'm on the level. I also give my lawyer the information about the storage facility, including the fact that I generously paid for 4 months of storage in advance, which is a whole month longer than the Grace Czech honeymoon adventure. Then I found a great apartment in the city near my new place of work. There I met a woman in a restaurant I frequent at night after a long workday. We have been dating for 6 months now and are engaged to be married. Grace, of course, tried to shrek and cause trouble when she realized that she got kicked out of my house. My lawyer quickly shut her mouth without me having to ever speak to her garbage face again. From what I hear, her and her trust husband left the country, and I assume that they're blowing through my dad's money and will soon be broke like shavs usually become when they taste a little bit of what they think is the good life. So maybe Grace will go and try to exploit some other lonely man into giving her his money. Speaking of money, the house that I rent out is generating so much money that I not only am able to help pay for my cousin's college, but I moved into a large apartment of my own together with my fiance. I love my job, but really, I could survive solely on renting my dad's old house. And to think, if Grace had only been cooler and nicer, I might have let her stay at the house just to be good sport. And definitely if she stayed the hell out of my room. But no, she had to act all like proprietary, so I had to make her homeless as a wedding gift. Postscript: I bought another PS4 even though I didn't even use my old one that much. It didn't matter. It wasn't for Grace to give away. You don't give away other people's things. You give away your own things. Which is why I chose to kick Grace out of my house because it's mine and I decide who stays here. Well, you can safely say that Grace is a disgrace. And it's kind of a bummer though. Grace still managed to get several hundreds of thousands of dollars. Moving on to the final story shared by u/Seb20816. My lawyer and I laid a trap for adulterous alcoholic wife in my divorce. When I got divorced, my alcoholic wife of 18 years had started another affair. This time with her addictions counselor. My lawyer and I laid a trap for them. Just in case you don't know, intimate relations between a counselor and a patient are very frowned upon the regulatory bodies. And I was more than pissed after putting her through rehab, $25K, which I didn't have to, only to have her fall back into her old behavior. Shortly before the divorce was finalized, I filed a complaint with the state body licensing health professions. Knowing they were in some peril because of their unprofessional relationship, I had already got him fired from a major teaching hospital. She had backed off her exorbitant demands. I paid her a very modest settlement, kept the house, got custody of the 3 teenage kids, plus got child support. The lawyer naturally included a clause in the divorce where I had to agree not to say anything negative about her lover and their relationship. But the lawyer screwed up and never asked if I had already filed charges and thus didn't require me to rescind them. Her lawyer had assumed I was just bad-mouthing them to neighbors and friends, and it never occurred to the lawyer that we were doing so much more. When the Board of Health Profession responded to my complaint shortly after divorce was finalized, I told them that it would take a subpoena to get me to testify. A subpoena trumps an agreement in a divorce settlement. They were happy to oblige. They stripped his license and placed him on a register of sanctioned health professionals. He never worked again. They were broke in a handful of years and she divorced him when their money ran out. In the interim, his mother had died, leaving a fair-sized estate. So it took longer than I expected. Oh, and frosting on the cake was that his wife and I traded notes, notably hotel receipts from the time of their affairs that helped each of us in our respective divorces. Justice was served. Oh wow! So your partner for this revenge is actually none other than the guy's wife. Well played! That's it for today, fellow humans. Thanks for watching. Be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. See you guys next time.